What's up, everybody? Real with Omar. Today's special guest is a realtor, an investor, a father, an athlete. There was one more. I forgot what you said, but I messed it up.
You got most of it.
I got most
you
of
got
it.
most of it.
Welcome to the show, Matt Ramos.
Appreciate you having me, man.
I'm glad you finally got here. Let's get into it. Matt, I don't really know much about you, so I can start from anywhere. So let's start at the beginning. You're in real estate now. I'm in real estate. I'm in lending. People know that. What part of real estate, what do you specialize in? How did you get there? And then we'll go backwards.
Yeah. So we have a real estate investment firm. We focus on fix and flip properties, value-add properties, single family and multifamily. So kind of backtracking, when COVID hit,
Right.
the entire world was affected, right?
Right.
I was working in medical device sales.
Okay.
It was paying the bills, good money. I did a small real estate portfolio, and my tenants weren't paying me. Like
everybody?
Yeah, like everybody,
Like
right?
everybody, yeah,
Like
yeah.
everybody. But for me, it was like, I had 4 units, and 2 people not paying me is
50%.
that's eating at my bank account, right?
Yeah.
So it got to a point, and I screenshot my bank statement so I can know from where I came from
Okay.
to where I am. I had negative $328 in my account, right?
Okay.
And I was like, it doesn't get much worse than this.
Meanwhile,
So-
you're a property owner, investor, like on paper, right? You have the titles. I just want to clarify that because some people
I have titles.
People like, hey man,
Yeah,
I'm doing this. I'm doing.
yeah,
I have 80 doors. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, but you negative. It
Yeah.
could happen.
I carry all the debt. It's all on me.
Okay.
I applied for my real estate license. So I kind of like self-reflected at
During
the time.
COVID?
During COVID,
Okay.
yeah. Self-reflected, I love chess, right? And chess is like knowing about your second, third, fourth, and fifth move,
Thinking
right?
Right.
So I knew I wanted to become a legitimate investor, not 4 units, right? And people starting off at 2 units, 4 units, good for you. But like, how can you double that, triple that, quadruple that, right? So I got my real estate license, and the reason to get my real estate license was so I can emerge myself in a market and be surrounded by like-minded individuals, right? I'll meet contractors, I'll meet inspectors, I'll meet appraisers, I'll understand what a loan is.
I'll meet the players in the game.
the players
right?
in the
Yeah,
game.
absolutely.
Because in order to be one, you got to live with them.
You got to be around them. Yeah,
Gotta
absolutely.
be around them, right? So I did that, closed a decent amount of sales the first year, and I did my first property. I had a group of VAs to cold call off-market properties for me. Did my first deal back in 2022, end of 2022, and then met my business partner, who is my wife's best friend's husband.
Okay. I followed it.
Yeah. Indian cat, loves numbers, Excel spreadsheet, like super smart, right? Whereas me, I'm like the
hands-on.
Luis, what's up?
Yeah,
How we doing?
yeah, yeah.
Like, how can I provide value to? What are you looking to do next, right? And he asked me what my numbers were, and I was like, my numbers are all up in here,
Right.
That
You're
deal
like, I
was-
know they're good.
I know they're good, right? I cashed out $100,000 in that deal. The money didn't change my life, but the concept and idea of what I can accomplish with it, right? Because every lender was telling me, you can't refinance this property.
Why?
Because I just quit my job,
Okay.
right? So you don't have any. So I'm calling people up. Like a lot of the people that I'm surrounded with are just like retail loan officers,
Right.
That are used to.
I like that.
Submit
I like
your
where this
W-2s.
conversation's going. Yeah, guys who
yeah.
don't know what the fuck they're doing. I can say that.
Exactly, right? And for me, like I quit my job because I don't like getting told what to do. I don't like people telling me no. Can I take 2 weeks off a week from now? No, you can't do that. I don't like that, right? I want to control my life and control my outcome. So I met this one person. He's like, yeah, you can absolutely do that. Is there 3-month title seasoning? I said, we're at month 2, but I can wait an additional month and cash out and do a refinance. He's like, yeah, you could do that. What's your credit score? It's like 750. He's like, okay, what's your liquidity? Like, I get some money in the bank.
Some dollars, yeah.
He's like, we can do it.
Yeah.
Cashed out refi, $100,000.
I know you didn't know me, but let me just say this to you, right? You could have done that the day after you closed. Had you called me, it's cool. It's called.
See this?
Yeah, it's called. We treat it almost as a delayed finance, a delayed purchase.
Okay.
So you'd only get 75% of the sales price, but you get it out. The day after you can do it. Delayed financing for the kids watching at home. Yeah, we can do that.
No, but take that because most people that you talk to will either want 3-month or 6-month
Right.
title
Seasoning. Right. I don't
right?
need that. Right.
Which also eats at your holding costs, because if you're doing a fix and flip and you want to cash out refinance and rent the property,
You're carrying costs of
you're
eating away your
carrying
profit.
costs,
Yeah.
eating away at the equity,
Yeah.
right?
I know we just flew over certain
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
but
yeah.
no. But for the guys who are there, the guys and
For
girls,
sure, for
you know,
sure.
they'll appreciate that part of the conversation. Yeah.
So I did that deal, and it was like, man, I can do this.
So you unleash the money. You're like, all right, cool, bet. Now what's next?
And again, the money was like, great, this is cool having.
Yeah.
But like, how can I
But
double it,
but
triple
didn't
it,
you feel
quadruple it?
validated? Like you're like, oh, here's the theory.
Yeah.
Right, and you did it, and now you have the proof.
Rather
now
than,
you're like, yo, I'm not crazy. This is right.
rather than accepting you can't, I asked myself, how can I?
Right.
Right. And I think that's what entrepreneurship taught me.
Absolutely.
Like there's a way to get things done. Obviously, like, you know, you fly to Mars. Elon Musk is going to be taking care of that eventually.
He's
but
on it.
It's
He's
not
on
going to. I'm not going to be that solution to that problem, right? So I met my business partner. He asked me the numbers, and I told him it's all up here.
Right.
He's like, well, you gotta create an Excel spreadsheet so you can multiply it and do it with speed. So we did that. And first year we bought 2 properties. And the second year we bought 20 properties.
20.
Just
Wow.
like that. Yeah. And I say just like that. I mean,
Right.
I'm talking 500, 600 offers later.
Right.
You know, there's delayed
There's work.
gratification.
There's
a lot of
work
work that
involved.
goes into
Yeah.
it. But yeah, man. And here we are today.
So how many properties are we at now?
We're at 28. I have 2 out in Akron. I have a 22 unit under contract.
You have Ohio, right?
Ohio, yeah.
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I have a 22 unit under contract in Cleveland.
Okay.
And then working through a 17 unit right now, which doing some due diligence on.
Where in
Cleveland, Ohio.
On Cleveland.
Yeah.
So how did you get to Cleveland? I know obviously the numbers, right?
The numbers, but relationships. So you know, they tell you in high school, money doesn't grow on trees, but they don't tell you where it does grow, and it grows through this, right? Conversations and relationships with other people where there can be mutual value exchanged.
Right.
So, my general contractor I worked with back, probably like my 3rd flip, right?
Okay.
He ended up leaving. He did a good job, you know, so there's some trust and credibility there. And he called me. He's like, Matt, I'm out in Cleveland. You should really check out investing out here, man. Properties are cheap. Your dollar can go a lot further. It's a good cash-on-cash return. I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay. So I flew out there, walked the properties. The unique thing about Ohio, Cleveland and Akron specifically, is all of the properties' yards are upkept, right? The grass is cut. There's no trash on the side.
Really?
And the reason is because you get a daily fine if you keep trash on the sidewalk
I
or in
know
front of
that.
your house.
Okay. Good to know.
But it looks good, right?
Right.
It looks good. It's attractive.
Manicured.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So did more due diligence, you know, found out the population flow, see what I'm getting for properties, what's Section 8 rent versus fair market value rent, and it looks good, right? So bought our first property in Akron about 5 months ago, bought another one out in Akron, have another one, just got a call today that we have another one under contract out in Akron.
Wow.
And the cash flow is healthy. The contractors that I worked with in the past, they performed. They did a really good job. Okay. And that was kind of like the test trial to get into the 22 units. So, you know, you never, funny story, and I'll keep it short, but.
No, we got all the time in the world.
Beautiful. So this is a life lesson through personal experience, stupid decisions I made. But anyways, so played baseball in high school. Me and the buddies got together. It was raining like 3 days straight. This was probably like November. It was freezing out, dude, right? So my buddy, he has a stream in his backyard. It turned into a heavy flowing river, right? Okay. Trees, like rapids, like going under bridges. So we took a 2-person canoe, fit 5 people in it, and took it down the stream.
It sounds like a bad idea.
It's a horrible idea, right?
It sounds like a bad idea, right?
But, you know, the young, dumb adrenaline rush,
let's do it.
Right? Let's do it. It's a really good idea. Yeah. So there's a bridge coming up. It's sucking water under. It's definitely dangerous, and we probably won't survive if we get sucked under that, right? So we grab the tree, like the Titanic, water starts flowing in the back of the canoe, it goes up, right, sinks all the way to the bottom. 3 of my buddies grab the tree, so they're stranded in the tree. Myself, and another buddy get sucked.
With the canoe?
No, the canoe's
gone.
sunk.
All right, done. All right.
Me and him are getting sucked down the stream, and my buddy's swimming against the current, right? So I see it because he's a little bit further downstream, and the bridge is up ahead. And I'm like, all right, let me just do the opposite. So I swim with the current.
Right. Swimming with the current. That's
I
know where you're going. Go ahead.
So swim with the current, get to the sideline, you know, toss him a branch, reel him in. But that was a life lesson, right? So when my contractor hit me up out in Cleveland, he's like, you should check it out. Let me just swim with the current.
Let me check it out. Yeah.
Right? Let me check it out. And you know,
well, you had a good relationship with him. He did perform, so he was credible.
for sure,
Right? So
without
then,
a doubt.
and he's giving you a referral, meaning, I mean, obviously he's going to win if you do come down because maybe he'll get some work, but he's also trying to look out because you also had work together.
There's an exchange in value.
And right. So going back to that, I was going to just label it as synergy.
Yeah.
But an exchange in value is a really good way of coining it also because a lot of people I see anyway in the business world sometimes forget it doesn't have to be even, but there should be an exchange, right? It doesn't have to be dollar for dollar or whatever it is, but you should be giving as well as receiving. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of something. And that's where people go wrong. Sometimes they feel that I have to get everything and nobody gets nothing. And they end up cutting their own foot off, right?
For sure.
I believe that. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure. There's no longevity in that,
Right,
right? There's
right.
no longevity in that. And like what you said about the quick close, you don't need 3-month title seasoning. Like that's a ton
Delayed
of value.
purchase financing. Look it up, boys and
Delayed
girls.
purchase financing.
Yeah.
But like out in Akron, I don't know if you're licensed in Ohio or not.
I'm
but
licensed in 50 states. Go ahead.
50 states. But so we'll talk.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
out in Akron, the deal I have today doesn't need that much rehab. We want to close on it fast, so we're going to use either hard money or just cash, but we want to refinance as fast as possible. But understanding that there's 3 months title seasoning, what's that going to do? It's eating away from the equity.
Right. So you
Now,
can
it
do
might
one
not be.
close. I mean, look, I'm a hard money lender. I'm a DSCR lender. But of course, the hard money into a DSCR will be double closing costs. If I can get you into delayed financing on one stop close, you keep that money in your pocket.
Wow.
Right. Not that I don't want to make all the money, but it's being real because again, the numbers don't lie,
Because two people can eat, and that's an exchange of value.
and that's how we perpetuate. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love that.
All right. So let's go back. Let's go. So you were on the canoe, but all that. So you told me. I know you. We spoke. I think a week ago.
Yeah. About
All right,
a week ago.
let's talk about being men of action because that's a big thing. We connected by Sean Degman.
Yeah.
All right, you were flying somewhere. Was it Ohio at that time?
We were.
You were
going-
somewhere.
Yeah.
You were somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
We were going to L.A. for an Ed Milet conference, like a leadership summit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
How'd that go?
He hit me up like I don't know 3 days before. I got a kid, right? He's like, "Yo, I got a free ticket. Like, let's go." And I'm like, "Let me talk to the wifey."
Yeah. Let me ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me clear it.
Exactly. So she gave me the green light. So we're about to board. He gets a call, and his sister, I believe it was like, "Hey, Dad's going to the hospital. I think you should come."
Okay.
And like on the way to the airport, him and I were talking about a couple things, but like, my dad's been to the hospital once or twice in the past, like, 2-3 months, and it's like, it's a scare, but it's nothing big. So like,
Right.
we don't want to, I don't want to say waste the trip, but we don't want to like, if it's just a small scare, we don't want to not go.
Right,
But at
right.
the same time, what if?
Right.
Right? What if? So he's like, "Listen, I gotta go. Like, I want you to go. Don't feel any need to come. You paid for the ticket. The Uber, the Turo's already set.
Everything's done. Right.
Everything's good.
Right.
Go. Enjoy it." I'm like, "All right." So he left, and as I'm about to board the plane, and I just like reflect on his and I relationship, and I got kicked out of college, but we went to college together, right? And when I got kicked out of college,
Well, we'll back that in. We'll back into that later.
Yeah, we'll
These
back
are like
into that.
life fucking moments. And you're like, I got kicked out of
no
college.
big deal, no big deal. I
Let's
got
keep
fucking
going.
booted from
Yeah.
college, right?
Yeah.
But when I got kicked out of college, I got a call, and it was, "Hey, we got into a fight. We need you." Right? And I was there for him,
It was from Sean.
for Sean.
Okay. Okay.
And I was there for him. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm definitely going to be there for him
Right.
during this type
You
of
need me.
circumstance, right?
Yeah.
You need me." So I took an Uber to the hospital, stayed overnight. Unfortunately, his dad ended up passing, and it was an eye opener for me because I talk about building or spending more quality time with my family because I'm very family oriented, family driven, and that experience really drove home to like nothing's forever, man.
Cause you to value it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. 'Cause
yeah.
it's only when we're faced with the concept of losing something that we tend to value it more. And you can put that in relationships. You can put that in anything. It's only when you only see the value in something when you're about to lose it, right? Or you get threatened with the what if this is no longer here. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, but so you didn't go to see Ed Milet.
Didn't know.
See, all right.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to you, man.
Yeah,
Kudos to
yeah.
you.
Gotta
All
be
right, so
humble.
let's go back to college.
Here we go. Yeah. This is the sexy
so you,
stuff.
yeah,
right?
yeah. So you skipped over that. So you went to college with Sean. What school?
Springfield College.
Springfield College.
Yep.
You said that to me off record, but I
Yeah.
don't want to get on record.
Yeah.
And you didn't finish there.
No, so I got I was football captain. I ended up quitting football my sophomore year. Still in my heart, my grades were, like I was enjoying college.
You were an athlete.
I was an athlete, right? Went back to playing football. I was actually nominated captain the next year, my junior year, going into senior year. So I was 2-time captain. My last year, there was a big fight, got called, felt like I needed to be there for my friends and my brothers.
Okay.
Was there. I ended up getting kicked out. During that time...
So there was a big fight on campus? I'm not trying to tell you to identify who it was, but yeah.
It was just off campus, but Springfield's a cult.
Right.
I mean, it's just called. I'm grateful for Springfield College, by the way.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Because
Shout out to Springfield.
Yeah, shout out to Springfield College. Thanks for kicking me out. I am who I am today because of you, right? So it was off campus. During that time, I also had 3 reconstructive surgeries on my wrist.
Oh shit!
I had
From football?
From football, yeah.
Okay.
So I had osteomyelitis. I had a PICC line going to my heart with I fed myself antibiotics, heparin, saline every day.
From what? For what? It came from playing ball?
It came from playing ball, but my first reconstructive surgery went well. I had 3 pins put in. The second one was like an evaluation. I had to get a drain line put in, and I got the green light to work out with my team, and I got to be there for my brothers, right? So I was working out with the team. The pins broke, pus coming from every opening in my wrist, and then rushed to the hospital, PICC line, while I'm getting kicked out.
Wow.
And that was dark moment for me because at the time,
and getting into fights,
with broken wrists, not smart. I don't advise that to anybody, right? But during that time, I'm getting prescribed pain medicine, right? And first surgery,
and how old
pain
are you?
medicine.
17, 18, 19?
Yeah, like 19 years old at the time, 20 years old around there. Getting prescribed pain medicine, take the pain meds. And I was in excruciating pain the first 1-2 surgeries, but then you develop a dependence to it, right?
Right.
So then all this stuff happens. And
you're at that age where you feel you're indestructible, right? So nothing
can tear me apart, right?
Right, absolutely.
And sure enough, life hits.
Yeah.
And it's dark moment for me. But I wear it as a badge of honor now, which you're either going to let your past define you or you're going to let your past refine you, right? And change who you are. And I think that experience definitely changed the person that I am.
Okay. So you're out of school, then what's next?
So
we already got to where you're at. So we got to fill in the middle, right? The gap, right?
We'll fill in the gap.
Yeah,
we'll fill in the gap. So I was a personal trainer. I was a strength coach. Like, man, this ain't paying the bills, right? College is expensive. So I wanted to get into medical device sales.
Why?
Because that's where the money's at.
Well, you knew somebody that was. You knew somebody was in there.
Not even, bro. I figured exercise physiology. I know anatomy and physiology. Medical device, you need those types of
So it was an educated
traits.
guess or deduction.
It was exactly.
Right. You're thinking, I can make more money here. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And do some research. Like the median salary is significantly higher than strength coach.
Right.
So I went on interviews. They said you need sales experience. So I went back through a person that I know that I was training.
Okay.
I was cold calling CFOs for like 2 years. Miserable. I'm talking like 70 calls a day, just like dialing for dollars.
To sell machines?
Leasing equipment, whether it be medical device, it could be manufacturing equipment, it could be like airliner equipment.
Okay.
So all of it.
So anything.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I had
you
no
buy
idea.
Something?
Yeah, exactly. Got the experience, got into pharmaceutical sales, and then someone who I know got me introduced to medical device sales, where I was selling osteogenesis stimulators for fracture management, spine surgeons, neurosurgeons, trauma management docs. Doing that for about 5 to 6 years.
How'd that go? It went.
It's gone, which I'm very grateful for, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, dude.
Yeah, well, listen, these experiences, man, make us value the shit we get.
Absolutely.
If you pay attention. If you pay attention.
You
right?
have to pay attention. You got to be very, very self-aware and self-conscious of like what's going around you.
Yeah.
Grateful for it. It taught me a lot about selling. It taught me a lot about the human body, medical device, and the corruption within the medical device industry.
Okay.
Taught me a lot about getting second, third, and fourth opinions from surgeons. But most importantly, it taught me what I don't want, right? Which is a boss telling me when I can take time off, which is a boss telling me, give me 2
the
weeks
corporate
notice.
structure.
Corporate
right?
structure is not for me.
Okay.
I'm Cuban, right?
At least you knew.
I'm defiant at heart, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was grateful for it, but very, very happy from where I came.
So that's where it happened. And during COVID, you were like, you know what? Maybe it's time to pivot, because obviously you're not doing you're not meeting anybody, you're not selling anything.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, everybody's in stasis.
Yeah.
They're just trying to figure out how we're gonna stay alive,
Mm-hmm.
because that was the beginning. The beginning of COVID, everybody was like, oh, we don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I remember during COVID, I think the shutdown was like a Wednesday. I remember I'm at the Barclays with my wife on a Sunday, and you're hearing shit about China. You're hearing, and we're at the game, right?
Yeah.
I used to sit on the floor, on the wood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, there's a lot of motherfuckers in here, right? And I'm like, they keep talking about this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it seems fine. And
Right.
that was a Sunday. Because I remember, and then that Wednesday, America was on lockdown. Wow. Yeah, I was like, holy shit, we can't leave. And they were like, nope, you can't leave.
Just like that.
Just like
and New
that.
York was a little bit different than other states, right?
Yeah, you were in Connecticut?
Connecticut.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you were living. So a lot of guys, and let's talk about shop now.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys in real estate, New York was a shutdown state.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're Ryan Serhan and you had like those type of connections where you're doing, and sight unseen, people buying
Yeah.
$10 million houses at full commission,
Right.
you're probably struggling.
Right.
A lot of guys I know pivoted, got their Connecticut license,
Yeah.
and try to go start showing up there because they couldn't survive.
Right.
New York was tough. It was shut down.
Yeah. And
Did you see a lot of like migration, a lot of new players?
Tons of
Yeah.
migration, and still to this day, tons of migration.
Well, they can get more for the dollar.
You get more for the dollar. Property taxes are lower.
I think insurance is lower too.
Insurance is significantly lower.
Yeah, that was
right?
a big thing.
I think politics has a lot to do with it. Property tax, the dollar value, your dollar goes a lot further out in Fairfield County, New Haven County, and Connecticut than it does in New York. So there's a lot of factors that come into play.
Right.
But even still to this day, man, a lot of people from New York are moving to Connecticut, which is driving the Connecticut market up. And
Right.
that's like where I look to invest is I look for a large MSA.
Mm-hmm.
Just outside of it.
Break down what
1 to 2
MSA
hours.
is. I know what it is, but I want other people to know
it's,
what it is.
it's a metro area. So like New York City, your Clevelands, your Nashvilles, your Tampa, Miami, those are MSAs.
Right.
But if you go to the MSAs, everybody's looking there.
Right.
So where are people not looking? Whereas there's less competition and greater chance for appreciation, it's like the suburbs or like 1 to 2 hours outside of these larger MSAs.
Yeah, I'm heavy in, I think I told you, in Holyoke and Springfield.
Yeah.
MSA is incredible. The kick factor is a lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of Latinos, a lot of Spanish speakers.
Yeah.
But from the island, very responsible, like to pay their rent. And they just don't have the financial literacy or the economic ability to pull themselves up.
Yep.
So it ended up being a 1-2 punch. A friend of mine started looking there 5 years ago. I think during COVID, during COVID, there was a deal. We were representing somebody as a realtor.
Yeah.
The buyer, Dominican dude, fell apart. He was being shady, and finally, the deal was basically a 21 unit, appraised at $2 million, in contract 1.6. They had to close. Yeah, and the guy at the end pulls out. He's like, "Yo, I can't." I had just bought my house in New Rochelle. My boy calls me. He's like, because I'm the broker. He's like, "Yo, this is what's happening." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "All right. So what do we want to do?" He's like, "Yo, the deal's too good." He's like, "We should buy it." So it was me and 3 of my friends.
Did you guys syndicate it?
No, it's me and 3 of my friends. We syndicated. We were the syndicate.
You were the syndicators.
Yeah, we
You
were the syndicate.
syndicated.
We were like, how much? I was like, yo, I just bought this house. I got this right now. Going back to relationships. So I know the guys in the deal, I don't know, 20-something years, right? I don't want to age myself. But I was like, look, I got this right now. Like today, if you need to wire it, I can wire this today. But I just bought my house. We're in the middle of construction.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, I'll front it. Just get it to me within a certain amount of time. So I was like, all right, bet. And that's how I got into my first deal, the 21 unit. And then something else happened. We looked at another portfolio. It was like, I think it was 16, 18 properties in total. It was like a $16 million deal, right? And I don't want to we'll say the seller was selling because of his marriage and whatever. He wanted to go to Florida. Right. She wanted to go to Florida. He wanted to go to Florida, whatever. Yeah. And he was trying to do Florida and be a long distance landlord. And then during COVID, again, he was applying for like EIDLs or some sort of loans. Mm-hmm. So they did like some sort of audits, and he saw that some guy had like absconded with like $300,000. So he's like, yo, I can't do this, right? And that's not even, the real estate wasn't even his moneymaker. His moneymaker was car dealerships.
Wow.
Right, so he wasn't really paying attention like that. So he was like, fuck that, let me sell this shit. So at the end, we did due diligence. We had put up like a couple $1 million. It was me and a partner. And we did the due diligence. The bank statements weren't matching up to something. So we had questions. We were like, yo, man, you said this is the amount, and da-da-da. So out of the 16 units, the prize jewel of that deal was a 50 unit that he had just rehabbed that was already being leased to the city of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
One master tenant. Da-da. That's the one we wanted, we said. So we negotiated a number. It was a little higher than it would have been had the whole portfolio came. But I said, that's the one. We want that one because, and we're in that one. It's flowing well. Year one, already getting distributions for people that know what that means. And you know, we're good. Like
That's a really good thing.
Yeah,
that's a really
day
good
one.
thing.
That's unheard of. So
And when did you get it?
last November, 2 Novembers ago, right? Yeah, 2 Novembers ago, but we didn't tenant it till June, July.
Got it.
So we were like 6, 7. They were finished because now the city had to come in and they want to make sure all our inspections passed.
Yeah.
And da-da-da. So that became the back and forth. But the seller, who did seller financing for us, he held it. He's like, we're good until when you get your rent, then you start paying.
That's
So
awesome.
it just worked out.
That's great.
Yeah, it worked out.
Wow. Good
It
for
was-
you, man.
But
Good for
going
you.
back to, like, if you don't throw yourself in,
Yeah.
you're never gonna get there. Because I was like, yo, what if this happens? I
Mm-hmm.
just told him, I don't know what's gonna happen. What if this? He was like, we'll work it out. Because obviously, once you got to bigger, like when you start getting to bigger properties, there are less and less people that are qualified, right? So like you're having less conversation. It's not like you're talking to 80 guys.
No,
Like they're like,
no.
all right, out of these 4 guys, like who seems to be the like a real dude? Because it becomes a relationship.
For
Buyer
sure.
and sellers, like you never like really walk away. Maybe 5 or 6 years when everything is all the numbers or all the money has exchanged hands. Maybe 5 or 6 years later, you never speak again. But during the first 5 years, it's pretty integral. And talk about like when you speak to your contractors and stuff like that. Sometimes numbers don't come the way it's supposed to come.
Nope.
Right? Sometimes they're and you can't control that.
Yeah.
But you have to have that conversation with yo, what happened, bro? Like, like why are we over 20,000? Like,
In the conversation happens every single deal,
Right.
It just the reality of it, and like, you got to work with people that believe in the vision. So like what we were really good at is selling people on the vision, right? A guy who's I don't want to say part of our acquisition team, but we work with him exclusively because he, 1, bought in the vision, 2, does a really good job and performs, and he's a man of action, right?
Okay, right.
We love men of action, right? Or a woman of action.
MOA, let's do that. Let's acronym.
MOA. I like it.
MOA.
I like it. Hashtag MOA.
Yeah.
So believing in the vision. So like a general contractor that comes to us, and like when we first started off, it was, give us an idea of where the quote's coming in, walk the property. Cool. They walk the property. Here's the quote. It's a little high. You might have to bite the bullet a little bit on some of them. Like you can negotiate down, but you don't want to negotiate too much because they have to eat as well, right?
You don't want to negotiate to a point where somebody feels devalued, right? You want to negotiate. I want a fair price, but damn, bro, I don't want you to be working for free. Like, because you get one call from one other client, they're out. They're like, oh, this guy's paying me full price.
Yeah.
That will, speaking to you about that is really just like an education to most people because, everybody like, I'm not going to say ethnicities. We'll just say there's certain ethnicities out there that like to just like haggle.
Luis, let me just stop you real quick, all right, bro? Let me just stop you. I'll talk about ethnicities, okay? Because my business partner's Indian. He's really good at nickel and diming, but we have a great dichotomy where I'm the person that's like, yo, like, let's move forward with it. I think it's a fair price. He comes in and says, nah, this is a little bit too high here. Right. But it's a healthy balance. And like, he'll correct me sometimes too. Right? Where, I might be too hard on the contractor. So it's a very healthy balance. And like with any type of business relationship, like you have to have a healthy balance of like one man push and one the other.
Push and pull. Give and get. Yeah.
Give and get, right?
Yeah, I got you.
And that happened, this 22 unit, this guy, his sewage bill was, 1 month it's super low, the other month it's like quadruple.
It made no sense.
Made no sense.
Right.
And we're like, why? So we do due diligence. We look at like the work that's being done. The work is half-assed. He's not paying people. He took out bridge debt. So with bridge debt, it's very expensive, right?
That's how I make my money,
bro.
Yo, you see the shirt today?
Thanks.
there you go.
That's a bankster move right there.
There you go. Yeah.
So he's digging himself into a big hole. But the reason he's digging himself into a big hole, he had this property for 2.5 years.
Okay.
In bridge debt, right?
Okay. Why? Why couldn't he get out?
Because he's not paying. He's afraid to pay people for the work that they do.
Does he have the money, or is it just some people are assholes like that? They just don't want to pay. Even if they have their pockets full,
for sure.
They're like, no.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's well with bridge debt. He took out some sort of construction loan with that, right? So like he should be able to pay.
Well, the way that works, just FYI, I'm not. If you know this, you can stop me.
Yeah.
The way when we do what we call not the mezzanine financing, but rather the rehab costs.
Yeah.
You have to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Then we inspect it.
Right.
Then we reimburse you.
Yeah.
So if it's shitty work, we won't reimburse. We'll be like, hey guys, this doesn't look right. This is like, I've had conversations with different clients about like, yo, what is this? You're saying this is 20,000. This is not 20,000. Yeah. And maybe, you know, I'm not saying, I don't know the guy. I'm not accusing him, but that's how that goes. Just so we don't get that bad of a name.
Yeah. I feel it. No, I mean, listen, like there's draw periods, like with hard money lenders, right? There's draw periods.
Right.
Come out, inspect it. Work looks good. Here's your draw.
And now it's with apps, bro. People don't even have to come out.
Dude.
Yeah, it's easy.
Take a picture of the property and send it. If it looks good, then we'll
send the
wire
money.
You the money.
Yes.
And if it's, let's say it's a partial draw, right? This work wasn't done. Just do the work and they'll send you the money.
Correct.
The problem with doing too many draws is you have to pay for each draw, right? Because the inspection in the process, right? But yeah, I think he wasn't paying his contractors what they necessarily deserve.
Right.
He dug himself into a hole, and you know now we're there to scoop it up, and we're getting creative with the financing, assuming some of the debt and putting a small down payment, so the cash on cash return is going to be a little bit heavier, and we're going to have to put up upfront money for some of the construction and rehab, but pay people what they're worth, but you know, don't be afraid to have that difficult conversation of, hey, this is, you know, the numbers you told me, this is completely
way
different,
off.
right?
Yeah, it's way off.
Because what I like to do is I like to get a better understanding of, okay, if materials is this, what's your labor, flooring, paint, given like there could be some standard deviation, but that's why you have 10, 15% construction budget, right? Construction contingency budget. Like keep that in your back pocket just in case. Those conversations happen often. You gotta make sure that you walk a thin line when you have those conversations, but you have to make money too, right? You also can't be afraid to walk away from a deal, right? We had a property out in Guilford, Connecticut. This happened just last week. We went through, so in Connecticut, there's a 5-day turn review period. The 5-day turn review period is essentially like, it's like your inspection period. We call it the inspection period, 5 days, right? Where you could put earnest deposit up and you can get everything back. Okay. Worst case scenario. So during that time, we typically do a walkthrough of the property, general contractor, all of our parties involved, we walk the property. Typically,
they show up,
agent.
boom,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Hey, this is what we budgeted. Tell us if we're wrong, right? Tell us if there's any structural damage.
Right.
I was away, my business partner's away, and we had another partner on that as well. He walked the property, it looked good. We had our second contractor go out and give another quote. He's like, yo, you might want to look at the roof and the foundation. There's the old foundation, the roof's wavy, the floor's wavy. Could indicate that there's some structural damage. The number one person that we're protecting in this deal is not us. It's not the contractor. It's the investor that's on it. Because that's our fiduciary duty. Right? Because he's funding it, and if it goes south, he's not going to fund it. I wouldn't want to fund any more projects if it goes south, right? So
it's the beginning of your relationship with this person.
Exactly. So we put up, I think, $6,000. It was past the 5-day attorney review period. We lost $6,000. Okay. But I'm good with that.
You told him, yo, I'd rather lose $6,000.
I'd rather lose $6,000. And now that dude's looking at us like they're not afraid to walk away from a deal and lose $6,000 of their own money. I'm with these guys. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. It shows a lot of value to be able to walk away.
Absolutely. From well, it shows that you're a serious guy. You know. So I'm vertically integrated. We have the lending, we have the real estate in New York. We have a few, and I'm an investor myself. So it depends on the deal what hat I'm wearing. And sometimes I'm like, look, man, it doesn't work for that. Like, you know, I have clients come up, hey, I like this deal. I'm like, well, you know, if we invert it or do this type of loan or go back to you, like, all right, we can close tomorrow cash. I can close you the day after. Like, there's a lot of that. But sometimes I'm like, bro, it's going to be too expensive. Like, I think it'll be too, or even this one. I had a conversation yesterday. We have a listing in Brooklyn. Number is the number. There's a number that, you know, that the client is looking for. As fiduciary responsibility, I can't tell you what the number is, but I'm like, yo, don't even talk to me below this. That's what I told. Don't even talk to me. So the guy's like, so they calling, and I'm like, yo, what's up, man? Like, well, what can we talk about? I'm like, yo, listen, man, this is the number. If you're gonna talk less than this, don't even talk to me. So you gotta be somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. Oh, but let's get a better deal. I'm like, yo, dude, but I'm not posing. I'm not posturing. I'm negotiating. I'm like, this is where we're at. Like, if we're talking less than this, just hang up. Just hang up on me.
Don't waste your time.
But people, I don't know if they don't believe other people, or do people use that as tactics? Because I'm like, I'm trying to be super transparent, bro. Like, this is where we're at. Like, nobody's talking to you for less than this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think it's also like it could be them, just them, right?
I know it's them, but we're not gonna say.
We're
not gonna say what they're in this.
But also, there's people that aren't as educated, informed as you,
Right.
and you do things a certain way, and like you try to. That's the thing in sailing, right? Like every person has a different personality, different perspective, different emotion
Techniques,
attached, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You actually care about your clients,
Yeah,
right? Whereas one person might just be looking to get a deal.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. There was a deal I had a couple of years ago. I think the listing was for like 3.5, whatever, 3.5 million, and we went to contract. I'm representing the seller. Seller happened to be my family. This is years ago, so I can talk about it now. Family member, not super financially literate, whatever. But this was his biggest asset, right? So he's like, yo, I don't know what to do. I was like, I got you. So I'm negotiating. I made a mistake, and I'll explain it here. So I have this group come up to me. Hey, we want to buy the property. And I'm like, okay. 3.5 is my number, no problem. Let's go to contract. They wanted 350. Okay. This is my mistake. My mistake was he was like, do you think I can file my plans in anticipation of closing? I should have said no, because you don't own the property. You shouldn't file shit.
Right,
but
right.
I said yeah. I was like, yeah, sure. No, I didn't see a problem. Fast forward, his plans get denied. I learned this later because I'm just I've been in the game a long time. So he comes back to me, goes, oh, the property has an encumbrance, blah blah blah. You know what it is, right?
Yeah.
Encumbrance, right? I was like, so just for people that don't know what it is, an encumbrance is something that may not allow you to sell a piece of property. It has something on it, like physically, that might prove to be an issue on a sale, right? So I'm like, yo, you can tell whatever you want, but don't tell me that, all right? Like, whoever you think you're talking to, you're not, whatever, get out of my face. So boom, he hangs up, and, they're getting aggy. So the taxes on that property were $75,000 a year. We were very close to closing, so they vacated the property, no tenants, no money coming in. So now my client, whose family is going to be, choking because he's paying So I'm putting these numbers out there for a reason. $75,000, in taxes that he has to pay out of his pocket. Now, if we carry that too long, it becomes crazy,
Huge
uncomfortable,
liability.
right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So, there's two people, right? They say you feed the wolf, right? Something like that. There's two people. There's the one guy that I know my legalities. I know my rights as a real estate broker, and I could have said, hey, you know what? I don't believe your shit. I'm going to send this contract to the Supreme Court in the Bronx, and we're going to let the judge decide. So I could have held everybody's money.
Yeah.
But I know that would have choked my cousin out. So I just basically said, all right, man, we're going to get liquidated damages. Because, again, the buyer didn't know we were related. So I said, we're going to get liquidated damages. Fuck you. I'm not paying you. I never said he had to pay me. I just kind of kept it professional. I was like, look, man, we're going to get liquidated damages. So I'm basically I'm coaching the attorney. I'm like, hey man, this is what you're gonna say. He's like, yeah. I'm like, this is what you're gonna fucking say. He's like, okay. So they go to the thing. They don't want me to go. They said that. The seller, the buyer's like, I don't want him to be here. I was like, okay, no problem. So I send them. So he got we had $350 on deposit. He got $125,000 in liquidated damages, which held him down.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything, which was fine. Fine. But that became the other person, right? Like, who do you Yeah, legally, yeah. I know. Like, because I had other guys. Oh, you could have done this. Oh, I'm like, yeah, I know. Everybody's like, yeah, Warren Buffett. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I know what I could have done, but the right thing to do was not to hurt my client, and that would have hurt him. I would, all right, yeah, $120,000 in commission. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts, but I'm gonna make more.
Yeah,
and come full circle. This is the partner I have in the 50 unit.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's how that worked out. We ended up selling it somewhere else, and the money was in 1031 exchange, and it just kind of all worked out. Just going back to the universe of how that works out.
Law of reciprocity.
So I took the L, and I was fine. I was really good with it. Like, he didn't understand. He was kind of scared. I was like, yo, you're going to get money. He was like, I am? I was like, you're going to get money.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And he got money, and he was able to pay some of his tax bills and blah, blah, blah. And he just, because, what happens is, whether it's small or large, when you have these obligations, and I'm saying this as an owner, operator, I'm saying that as a father, I'm saying it as a husband, I'm saying it as a son. When you have certain obligations, there's a pressure that builds. We don't talk about it as men, because I don't know we're supposed to fucking handle it, right? But it's the way the mindset you have when you do certain things, right? Like other people, oh, you gave away money, you're so stupid. Am I? Not really. I don't feel that way. But you have your opinion. That's cool. But I know whenever I do something, I really do it from a good place, right? And whether, like I said, I made a mistake. Like could he blame me? Yeah, but we wouldn't be doing this now. I don't know. I think it works out the way it's supposed to work out.
If you do right by people.
Yeah. If you're doing it from the right place, right? Like
intention is everything, man.
Right.
You wake up in the morning and you want to go to the gym and you go to the gym, but you do calf raises.
Yeah. Calf raises, sit-ups.
And then there's no intention there,
and then
right?
drink 2 shakes.
Yeah. But like intention is everything, man. And I think the law of reciprocity is real. My wife says this: we're made of protons and electrons, right? Protons are positive, electrons are negative. I think electrons are negative.
I think neutrons are negative. I think electrons are neutral.
Neutral. Okay.
So maybe I don't know. All right. We'll look it up.
Protons, neutrons. Protons, neutrons. Protons are positive, neutrons are negative. Whichever one you feed, you're going to get in return.
Okay.
Right? So like be a positive person, treat people right, do right by people, having fiduciary responsibilities when you're going through business transactions. It will all come back, right? Yeah. We're not all perfect. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be perfect.
We're not supposed to be perfect.
I believe. Anyway, and you know what? Even having an imperfect day, like I have this piece of content I'm gonna cut. You gotta give yourself some grace too, because sometimes we kind of like me and my wife talk all the time. She's like, she gets very anxious because she runs shit through her. I don't run shit. I'm like, all right, we're gonna try this. If it fucking works, I'm a genius. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else.
Yeah.
That's
we'll
it.
Figure it out.
That's it. No,
that's
it. It's law. It's process of elimination. It's real to me. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I don't like this. You said I don't like medical sales. Well, I'm gonna try something else. I don't know what it is. Oh shit, real estate. Let me try this.
Yeah.
And you seem to be hitting your groove, right? It's your thing. Like had you been too scared and be like, oh, I'm just gonna stay here until a sign. There is no sign, bro. There is no sign. There is your feelings and your mindset and how you approach stuff. So you said you're into self-development.
Yeah.
Talk about that, please.
So I mean, you stress muscles. When you work out, you stress muscles. When you stress the muscles, what happens? The muscles adapt and grow.
Right.
You got to treat your mind the same way. You got to treat your emotions the same way. You got to treat your relationships the same way, whether it be with your wife, your significant other, your husband. You always have to stress those things in order for them to grow. So self-development encompasses everything, whether it be exercise, mental, your physical well-being, your relationships with your significant other. You always have to stress those things. Even relationship with my father, with my mother, with my son. Like you always have to keep pushing forward and keep challenging. I guess you can say challenging your beliefs or your bond with them to make that bond stronger.
Okay.
Right? Just like a muscle, when you exercise, you stress it, it becomes stronger.
Right.
The way that I self-develop, I read in the morning. I wake up early intentionally because I don't like waking up early, right?
You're not an early guy?
Nah, I know early guy. But this morning I was up at 4 a.m. I got to the gym at 5 a.m., started my workout, got done at like 6:15, had coffee talk with the boys.
Right.
Awesome time. Got my hair cut because I knew I was coming here.
Gotta look your best.
Gotta look your best, brother. Gotta look your best.
I don't have a line in my hair.
Nah, you look good.
I don't have a hair.
You got a beautiful smile, Luis.
Yo, man, that's all I got going.
You got a beautiful smile, brother, and personality.
Appreciate that.
So yeah, man, and I read a lot. I podcast. I listen to audiobooks. Like I was listening to a podcast coming up here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to continue to learn and gather new information and see if I can implement and apply that information to see if it works, whether it be propelling my business, propelling my relationships, or propelling myself forward.
Well, here's the question, right? Because I think everybody should be working on themselves, but everybody doesn't have that attitude. I work on myself constantly, but I think me and my wife go back and forth about this all the time because everybody has their own method. Right, so something that works for me won't work for you. Everybody has just their own matrix. We all have our certain DNA.
Yeah.
Some things click well, some things don't. And we were talking the other day. I told her, I said, you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. Like that becomes the thing. Like it's like, hey man. And recently in my life, I've had some really big, I think, developments in my personal relationship with certain people. When I was telling them I was closing the door. I was like, look, it's probably our last conversation. What? I was like, let me finish. And I broke it in the middle, boom, 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 and the conversation ends. And a week later, there's like something drastic happens, and I'm surprised because that wasn't my intent. My intent was saying, yo, man, for the law of self-preservation, because I'm gonna go cuckoo eventually. Let's just stop. We're cool. You stay on your side of the road. I'll stay on my side. Let's just stop. And the few times I've done that, I've had some really big, some positive things happen where people are like, no, I needed that, or like, and some people, I really feel that sometimes people might say they want to, but I believe it's almost like an exercise in futility, because when you want to, you find the way, right? It's almost like, I want to work out. Oh, but I'm busy. Yo, bro, I run 3 platforms. I have 3 kids. I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm a morning person. I'm programmed already. Like, I wake up, I'm like half fucking asleep, falling around, walking the dogs, but that's my ritual, right? So I know, get that done, and during the rest of the day, like, I can attack everything else. That might not work for everybody. Some people like to work out at night. By 9:30, 10, I'm like kind of like zonked out. I'm like looking at TV, like, or whatever I'm doing, I'm just not really there. You know what I'm saying? So whatever works for you, but it has to be right for you, right? And the beauty of it is, if you're really trying to self-develop, you will then pursue, or you'll do like what I call the process of elimination of everything. Like, this might work. No, it doesn't work. All right, fuck it. It's out. At least we've eliminated that. Now this just keep going. And you got to have that same energy and enthusiasm for each one. Even as you get like smashed in the face. You can be like, fuck it. All right, it didn't work today. And you got to have that jovial attitude almost, because when you find it, like I tell my kids all the time, you can't know happiness without sadness. I've lost my mother. I've lost people. I know what it is to be dark. Like you mentioned, being in a dark place. I know what it is to be dark. I couldn't identify it at the time. I was like, I just don't. It's really hard for me to give a fuck right now, and I don't know why. And it's depression, right? Like I'm not Dr. What's the guy's name? Dr. Oz. I'm not, but self-diagnosing myself. But I'm like, yo, bro, like it wasn't me. Like it was just hard to give a fuck, right? So, me thinking about that now, and now where I'm at, it's totally different. Like I'm reinvigorated, but I say this to say that we are all going through shit. Like I don't want people to think, you're always up. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not always up. Like, but it's okay, because when I'm up, I really fucking enjoy it. Because some days, not that easy. We'll get there, but I need a little more time to rev up or whatever. Because like I said, we're all going in different parts of our lives. We're gonna face challenges. It's how you receive those challenges. I mean, let's say a scale of 1 to 10. Let's say 10 being my optimum, which I think I'm pretty close lately. When my mother was really sick, man, I was at like a 3 or 4. But my 3 or 4 was probably good compared to the rest of the human population. You know what I'm saying? But you got to find out what your barometer is.
Your pain today is someone else's best day, right?
Correct.
It's so true. And like, so last week, it was pretty humid, right? It was rainy, humid. I woke up. It was 4 a.m. I was getting ready for gym, and my wrist was killing me.
Oh, so you get affected still?
Oh man, it was locked up. I couldn't move it. It was really bad. And like during those times, the bitch voice comes in, like, oh, just like your wrist hurts, take today off. And for me, it's like, okay, now that I have a son in this world, there's a greater purpose in life than me just like looking fit, looking good, right? The purpose is like, I want my son to look at me when he grows up like, that's my hero,
right?
Because he's built like a fucking gladiator, and he's intelligent, he's articulate, he builds strong relationships. He has great relationships with.
You want to be a great model, an example.
I get it.
Be
the example, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that takes discomfort. So you said, what works for me might not work for everyone else. It doesn't work for me. I make it work for me, right? I get uncomfortable on a daily basis. I don't want to wake up early. I push myself to wake up early. I get in uncomfortable situations intentionally because the rest of the day is easy. So I think like with people, I don't have time. No, you're just making a poor excuse for yourself because there's another person that struggles getting out of bed, but somehow finds a way to get it done.
Yeah, I tell
Right?
people, like, "Yo, you have a lot of time on that." No, I make time. So like, if we have to do something, then I have to configure the day, and we'll like. It's not like, oh, I'm just hanging out, watching Netflix. Like, if I do that, it'll be like at 9 o'clock because I'm gonna go sleep at 9:30. I just want to kind of like I like to try to tune my brain down because like as a high performer, like your head is everywhere. So you gotta find a way to bring yourself down or lull yourself back to bed because good sleep is another thing. I speak to a lot of people. It's really hard for some people. I've been blessed. I've been blessed, bro. There was a saying I heard it one time. Sleep like a convicted criminal. I go to sleep. All right, fuck it. Go to sleep. It's like I'll deal with it tomorrow. And I don't know where I heard that from, but it stuck with me. I'm like, I sleep hard.
I mean, you got it right. Sleep is where your body regenerates.
But some people can't. It's not that they don't want to. They just struggle with it. That's
when I wake up, I can't fall back asleep. But dude, even on the days that I'm up at 12 o'clock, I try to get to bed at like 8:30, 9:30. Right. Sometimes I have conference calls and I work a little bit later. Right. But I try to get to bed pretty early because I'm waking up pretty early, right? But like days, I'll wake up at 12 o'clock. My son might be crying. He's 1.5 years old, so he's in that phase where he's like moaning, crying, waking up a lot. I still find a way to make it to the gym because I've never gone to the gym. I've never been tired and gone to the gym and regret it.
And that felt
always,
better. Right.
If I wake up and I'm tired and I don't go to the gym, I always regret it, right? So I try to push my mind, my body through that to really like make it intentional and get to the gym because it impacts my entire day.
Yeah, I mean, you said it before, exercise is medicine. Yeah. And let's touch on that because there's so much, on Instagram, I'm this, I'm that. Listen, if I'm just going to use this is not, all right, I'm going to use an extreme example of one I've lived through just to give people an example of this is reality. Your mother's slipping away. You and your wife are arguing. Business sucks because you can't focus on anything. But at least you wake up in the morning and you circulate yourself and you kind of like, you keep your ritual to kind of keep yourself on pace because if you take that away, then your discipline can't save you. Like to me, the work always says the work is so fucking therapeutic to grief. Because you're not focusing on it. People don't understand, how you do that? Like, you don't care. Like, of course you fucking care. We're all humans. Yeah. But it's going back to what works. Like, you can't grieve 24 hours a day. You're going to end up in the fucking grave with them, right? So you got to figure out how to keep your self-worth up, right? And all this is intertwined, right? Your self-worth, the way you feel people perceive you, like, you have to be of service. If that's your calling. You have to push on. You have to get up. You have to do your rituals. You have to, no matter what. And if you don't feel great, it doesn't mean you're going to hit a PR of 600 pounds on a deadlift. Like, it just means you'll move. Just move. Yep. And then maybe you feel better, you move more. If you don't, but at least you moved, and at least you can check that shit off. Because all the little things, I think they call it not microdosing, but rather all the little things, the compound effect of, doesn't matter what day it is. Today I'm doing this, right? It doesn't matter. It's a hurricane outside. That's great. I'll see you out there. You know what I mean? Like those are the real ones. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. She's leaving to Florida soon. She just sold her house, and the last time I had been to her house was during a hurricane, and her lights were out. Her daughter is 14, 15. Her daughter was 2 months, and I know a long time. I said, "Look, we'll see you today. Me and my wife, we're going." We'll see you. She goes, yo, it looks crazy outside. I was like, I already got the food. We'll see you. And I drove, and it's a good story now. But we're just out. Like, if I said I'm doing it, like, unless something happened to me, I'll be there.
It's the book, the Four Agreements. Have you read it?
No.
So one of the Four Agreements is being impeccable with your word. Okay. Right? Always doing your best. Never assume. And I forget the four, but being impeccable with your word. You say you're going to do something, do it. Yeah.
No matter what.
We all make mistakes, though, right? Things get backed up throughout the day. I mean, dude, even like Shawnee Deggs put us in touch, I don't know, dude, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And like my intention was to call you one day, and I just got overwhelmed with work with the 22-unit due diligence, and I'm like, damn. let me call this dude. And then it's funny, I FaceTime you like,
I was like, who is it?
Who is this? You FaceTiming me? Like I was trying to, some creep or some shit.
No, you know what that is? That's the WhatsApp app because we run a lot of social media. I'm like, yo, who is this? Like, that was pretty funny.
Too funny.
That's a real story, guys.
True story. No, but I wanted to put the face name. In order to have it, you have to create habits.
Oh, I like that.
Right?
Okay.
Habits don't come overnight. Habits come through daily, disciplined intention with a lot of action, right? You can't just think things, right? Jim Quick says, thought is only potential power. It is power through application.
Okay.
Right? So you think things, you learn things. When you apply it, that's when it becomes very powerful.
Yeah, I have my own little statement. Application beats theory every time.
Ooh, application beats theory.
I always, they were like, well, how'd you know that? Because I fucking did it. Like I failed until I figured it out. Like going back to like different, like I'll bring this back to real estate. When they'll go, well, the debt service doesn't work. I'm like, well, it absolutely does. Because you're talking about this 10 reserve, this, that. Some of those things, like I'm just going back to like my deal in particular, it's a brand new rehab. We're not going to be having, I don't have to put a cap at, like I broke this down with an underwriter. We're arguing. I'm like, look, I fucking did it. I'm the owner as well as the originator. I was you're talking to me like, I'm like, this is yo, I'm down there. You want to come meet me? And they're like,
walk the shit.
Yeah, they're like,
did you walk it?
They're like, all right, fine. I'm like, it's a brand like, we're not talking about, so there's a conviction that comes through doing things, right? And going back, just tying this into Dave, when I hit him on Instagram, it was kind of like we agreed to do it. We did it. It was just that. And and I told him, I said, that's how simple it should be. Yeah. Right. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes you get, I got to check with this. I'm like, listen, I'm the CEO of my life. I don't know about you. Right. So either you're going to do it or not. And going back to what you said, you got caught up, but I think we hit each other a couple times on text. Yeah. And I said, I'm in the city, whatever. Like I left it open. I'm like, today works, call me whenever, or tomorrow might not work, whatever. Like, but open, transparent conversation gets a million things done. Yeah. Right. And people don't, I think people they posture too much. Yeah, you know, they want to seem important. And that's fine. We're all important. We don't need to flex we're important. Time is the only thing we can't buy back, right?
Time is the greatest commodity that we all have. And you know, I was listening to Bradley's podcast coming up here, and he was talking to forget this dude's name. Good looking dude, builder, owns a steel company, hangs out with like Andrew Tate and all those dudes, right? Okay. But he was saying, you know, he speaks to 55-year-olds driving a Lambo in Miami Beach. What they would trade is being a 23-year-old not having that Lambo, not being on Miami Beach, right? Not having worry about debt.
Just youth, right?
Just youth.
Yeah.
Right? Because time is the greatest commodity that we have. Yeah. What that does to you is it creates a sense of urgency in younger people. Even me, like I'm 34, I'm still pretty young.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm stepping into my prime now, right? But it creates a sense of urgency, and that sense of urgency can help drive you. But what also drives you, what also should drive you, is your purpose. So if you don't know your purpose, you don't know your why, you need to identify that, because I think what's his face, the preacher who's leadership focus driven, John Maxwell. John Maxwell says, there's a difference between goal conscious and growth conscious. Growth conscious is never ending, right? It's a continuous evolvement of the human existence. Right. Versus goal conscious, like, here's a target.
I hit it.
I hit that target.
I'm done. Right.
Cool. There's a dopamine response, and you get satisfaction out of that and fulfillment out of that. But what happens when that's gone, right? The growth conscious mindset is something that you need to instill. And I think the way that you keep the growth conscious mindset intact is having that why and fulfillment. Okay. Right? Which, let me ask you, what is your why or purpose?
My purpose is to help as many people as possible as I pursue whatever I'm pursuing. So it's really, it's been since I was younger, right? When I was younger, I'm 49. So you said 33, I'm 49. So I'm a little older.
You're still young though, brother.
My oldest son is 29. So yeah, you're not my son, but yeah.
Man, them Hispanic genes are beautiful.
29, right? Yeah. So in the beginning, of course, when you don't have shit, you're just like scrambling to get shit, right? Yeah. So I've been really lucky and I say this because some people be like, oh, that's not really lucky. But yeah, I've been really lucky that I've made a lot of money and lost a lot of money. Made a lot of, and I kind of understand. I'm still the same guy.
Yeah.
But when I make money, I tend to help, whether it's my immediate family, whether it's my extended family, whether it's my kids' friends, whether the goal is always to help, and it's always to open eyes, right? Because there's such a bigger game. And when I say game, I don't mean to say it like almost like Squid Games. I mean to say like, financial literacy. Going back to that, like we were talking a little earlier. I don't know if it was on camera or off camera, but going off the numbers, like for people to understand how numbers flow, to people understand how these things like assets can generate income, and you're really not working. I mean, you have to do some legwork in the beginning, but you can get a check for like 15, 20, 30,000. Like we get the right property, you can have like that's better than any pension, right? Then you have appreciation, right? The asset grows in value, and you can either pass it on or you can sell it. Like all these concepts, I was never taught. I pursued them, and whenever I'm talking to my kids and their friends, I'm educating them. And even like the funniest thing is that my kids don't pay attention to me because I'm just dad, right? I'm gonna do YouTube. I'm gonna learn my credit. I'm like, bro, I'm right here.
Yeah.
The best one was my 19-year-old was like, you have to interview an entrepreneur. Dad, you know anybody? I'm like, this motherfucker. I'm like,
right here.
Nah, I don't know anybody, bro. So
Yeah.
I referred him to a friend of mine. I felt a little slighted, but at the end of the day, I'm too accessible. I'm his father. I'm not this lender guy. I'm not this real estate guy.
There's a different
I'm just dad.
relationship.
I'm just
for
dad.
sure.
I'm just dad.
For sure.
But going back to my why is that I want people to open their eyes. Like I had an interview with my client last week, and they had just come to the country, very hard workers, and they had amassed a little bit of money. This is going back 5 years.
Yeah.
They had EA3s, which are employment authorization IDs.
Yeah.
So you're not technically a citizen. You're not technically a resident alien.
So workers
permit, basically, for 2 years. Every 2 years, you have to renew it.
Yeah.
Now, you can get a loan that way.
Yeah.
They were based in, I'm going to expose a little bit. They're based in Chappaqua. They went to 8 lenders. They were denied by 8 lenders. They called their attorney, who was a good friend of mine. Shout out to Chris Cabanillas, big time dude. And he said, all right, hold on. He calls me up. He goes, yo, this is a situation. I said, yeah. Kind of going back to when you said we have to wait 3 months. I'm like, no, you don't. But anyway, I'm just using that because I educate myself.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I got you. He was like, no, for real, we're going to go to contract. I'm going to put money on. I was like, yo, we're good. Send it over. We closed the first one. The first one, they were super nervous. They were like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Da-da. So then a year later, they want to buy something else. Same situation. I was like, yeah. They're like, yeah. You sure? I was like, yeah. We closed the second one. The third one, so we're on the third one now, and they're like, their deals are getting bigger, right? So these guys are making money, and they're working hard, and they're buying bigger shit. And they're just like, yo, man, if we never had met you, we'd still be working, we'd be making money, but not owning anything. Yeah. And there's just there's something to the validation of being to execute on your dream, whatever it is, whether it's being an owner of a business or a real estate owner, whatever. Just realizing your goal, right? That there's something that changes within you when you're able to achieve that, and helping people do that. Well, I know where it comes from. It comes from this. It comes from 2003. My wife is pregnant. I'm looking for places to buy. I have a liquor store. I was a liquor store owner. A lot of cash, not a lot of income on W-2. Yeah. So I go to the bank that I bank at, and I'm like, hey, I want to buy this house. I got, whatever. I have $50,000. I have a 760 credit score. What can we do? This is 2004, right before the fucking rush. Yeah. Everybody and their mom's getting loans. Yeah. Lady sits me down at Norfolk Bank, which is Capital One, which is out of business anyway. Oh, that particular branch anyway. She pulls out this book, and she's opening the book. She's asking me questions. She's looking at the book. Every time I answer, she just flips the page. She gets to the end of the book. She closes the book. She's like, I can't help you. Going back to my wife, I was like, well, my wife is pregnant. I'm getting a house. And I know every motherfucker out here is getting a house. So I call one of my boys who was in the business. I was like, yo, Chris, he's like, I got you, bro. I remember all these names. These guys are all retired probably now. Milton from Bank of America, or Countrywide. I don't know if you remember that bank years ago. Yeah. Countrywide, I call him. He goes, what's up? I tell him the situation. He goes, yeah, I got you. He sends an approval letter. We closed on the house 4 months later. Had I taken the no, I don't know where I would be. But that story has been such a constant in my life. When I wanted to apply to NYU, my guidance counselor, Miss Klemper, no offense to her, she was a nice lady. I wasn't really cool with her, but she was my guidance counselor. She was like, yo, that's an expensive school. Maybe you should look at CUNY schools. unconscious bias is a real thing. And I'm not saying that she was being malicious. I'm saying that she was trying to tell me, hey, financial, obligations is a real thing, and maybe this ain't your shit. And I took it as a personal attack, so I applied. I got in. But these are the things that I use to propel me. Yeah. And when I talk to people, I'm like, hey, man, so what do we got? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do we got? What's the story? Yeah. What were you denied? I have credit. I have this, or where's your challenge? Yeah. And so that's my why. My why is to get as many motherfuckers on as possible. And that's really it.
And it started from a personal experience.
It always does. Yeah, it always does. People's drivers always come from like some sort of life event where they were told, and you're like, no, fuck that. And I don't want anybody else to feel like this. Yeah. And you become like this, the Kanye West of mortgages.
Yeah, the Kanye West of mortgages.
You're like, no, I got you. Like, and if I don't have it, I'll tell you why. But look, we gotta fix that, bro. Let's fix that, and then revisit in 30 days.
You keep that. How can I attitude?
Yeah, well, because it's all. Listen, it's all machination, man. It's all guidelines. So we just have to fit the matrix. I just got to get you to fit the matrix. That's it. And some matrices, they don't care about certain things. Yeah. Some do. So I know all of them. And that's the goal. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's my way.
I love that.
Yeah, you got to give access to everybody, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like, what's your why?
So I bought a, speaking of self-development, I bought a $40,000 mentorship program for multifamily. Very expensive. Because when I did it, it was about 2 years ago. I didn't really have that much money. Right? Okay. 3 years ago, I quit my full-time job, stacked a little bit of bread, put it on a credit card. But self-development is investing in yourself is the first person that you should invest in. Don't invest in stocks. Don't invest in real estate. Invest in yourself and then do that, right? Because that will stay with you forever. So I go into this mentorship, and the first question they ask is, what's your why? What's your purpose? And I'm like, damn, I don't know.
Okay.
Right?
That's an honest answer.
At the time, I really didn't know. Like, I had just started my entrepreneurship journey, and I was trying to find out, like,
you're just like, this ain't it. I know that this ain't it.
Yeah, for sure. And like in medical device, I thought my driving force was the fear of loss is what drove me, but it really isn't, right? Because my entire life I trained strength and conditioning. I studied playbooks so that I can win. So I reflected a little bit. What motivates me? What's really my passion? What's my why? My fulfillment? So my father came from Cuba when he was 14 years old.
Okay. Legally, or he came over the border?
Asylum.
All right. Okay.
Asylum.
Okay.
Maybe he was here and then claimed asylum, but
man, I'm sure it's way past
exactly
anybody coming out.
He's got his citizenship. He's good to go. He's good to go. So he came from Cuba at 14 years old from extreme poverty. And like, keep in mind, extreme poverty isn't like living in BX or Yonkers and like,
extreme poverty is no running water. With no
running
shoes.
water, no shoes. Yeah. Your food at night is his food at night was, he'd come home after school, a pig would be hanging alive upside down.
Oh boy.
His dad would slit the pig's throat, let the blood drain, help his father cut up the meat, and that was his food for the week. Yeah. Right? Chasing sugarcane trucks, jumping on the back, stealing the sugarcane for a bite to eat because he was hungry. Right. And he had to help feed his family. Right? He came from that to, I grew up lower middle class, right? Like, keep the heat below 60, keep the AC, we didn't have AC, keep the heat below 60, right? Sweatshirt and sweatpants every day in my house.
Bundle up, buddy.
Bundle up, right? But he came from extreme poverty to being able to feed and support my two sisters, myself, and my mother. My mom is, angel on this earth, love her to death. But he changed the trajectory of his family tree forever. So as the only son in the family with the last name, carrying the last name,
you gotta carry
it's
the name.
my duty and responsibility to carry that name.
Yeah.
And what do I want to do with that? I want to impact a lot of people, but first, prior to impacting a lot of people and helping a lot of people, I need to get my house in order first.
You got to build yourself.
Better yourself. Yeah. Provide credibility, right? If I can close X amount of loans on X number of pieces of real estate and do it successfully, well, then there's credibility. But now I want to give back to people and help people that college might not be the route for them. Right? Because I got kicked out of college. Right. So if I got kicked out of college, you can do it too. Right?
Yeah. College is not the only way.
It's not the only way, man. It's not the only way. And quite honestly, the the American dream,
Mhm.
right? What was the invite that you sent me? It was the American dream, the old American dream. The old American dream was come to the country, or if you're in the country, get a single family house, save, invest in your
401k.
401k.
Yeah.
Get a W-2 good steady paying job, stay with the company,
Good benefits.
Good benefits package,
Mhm.
retire at 65 and live happily ever after. That American dream is now what I deem as the American trap, because my dad's 76, he's not retired, right? He has a single family home. He invested in a 401k, but he's not retired yet, right? So I think that was sold to people because it keeps the system running.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a good dream to have. Listen, I'm not saying don't buy a single family home.
Mhm.
Right? I'm not saying don't invest in a 401k. It's good. That's a good investment vehicle. Buying a single family home for you to live in, it's good. It's good for your family. It's security. It's safety. And that could still be part of the American dream, which, okay. But that's not the only way, right? And I think the way that I learned to which I applied to my life is I can, 1 o'clock podcast.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, put it on the calendar.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Chase, my son, he needs some milk. Can you go pick some milk up and drop it off? Yeah, no doubt. I got you.
Mhm.
We go to the grocery store, I run it to him. I control my outcome of time. I control my outcome of finances. I control my outcome of where I want to be, when I want to be, and who I want to be.
Mhm.
And that's my American dream.
Well, Matt, I think that also what you have to also state, and I think it's overseen or looked over by many people. That's your American dream, but you have the discipline to execute it, right? Because so many people, I want to do this. All right, what'd you do today? Oh, I woke up at 12. I just hang up. Conversation's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just woke up.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah.
come on, you're not serious.
Yeah.
Like, or
Yeah.
you want that dream? Like, what are you willing to do? Well, I wake up at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I have to do what I have to do. Like,
Yeah.
I got my shit in order. And
Mhm.
and even if you don't have an order, you have the discipline to pursue.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people say they want this. If I hear this one more time, I've heard it from a few people. I just want to be on the beach, see seeing my rent checks. That I'm like, my man. I was like, first of all, look, I'm in the third phase of my life, right? I'm 49, gonna be 50.
Yeah.
I don't see myself retiring, but not because I don't have to, because honestly, I feel that if you retire, you kind of lose purpose. So it'll be like, yo, babe, let's go to Cabo for 2 weeks or a week.
Yeah.
I think a week is like the longest I can go on vacation because I start getting itchy.
Yeah.
And even when I get older, I'll do it for like a week,
Yeah.
recharge,
Right.
come get this, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
at 80 what I'll be doing, but it's gonna be something. Because if not, we just lose our shit. I've seen too many people retire and just die.
It's a good point, right? It's a good point. My dad said he's not going to retire because when he retires, he dies, right? So he's gonna keep to it. And also, I think culturally, that's just in the Latin, the Hispanic
Well, give it to your
DNA.
dad. What's his name?
John.
Give it to John.
Well, his maiden name is Osvaldo Bernabé Ramos Ramirez, but
But
his
we just call him
Americanized
John.
name
We
is
just call him
John.
John.
Yeah, John.
Okay, John.
Go figure, right? Unreal.
All right, John. Look, John was killing pigs, man. You got to give it to him. So like he's like in this
100%.
brave new world.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
fuck this, I'm good. Like I had to jump on trucks to get. Like, I can buy shit.
Yeah,
So like
this shit is easy. I wake up in the morning and I'm tired and my wrist hurts. Okay. I can go to the grocery store right now and get food. I can go pick up a coffee to make me more energized. I can just look at my phone for immediate gratification.
for 5 hours because people
This
get stuck on there forever. Yeah.
This shit is easy, bro.
Yeah.
How,
Yeah.
how-
The discipline
show
is
some
hard.
fucking gratitude to what we currently have today and pursue something better for tomorrow, right? And I think that people lack gratitude.
Yeah.
Right?
They lack gratitude. And they lack awareness. Like this. All right, your kid's young.
Yeah.
My kid's fucking young men, assholes. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. Like we've created this situation. Like they don't know. Like I talk about the come up. My oldest remembers.
Yeah,
Because he's
right,
like,
right.
Dad, I remember we used to. Yeah, I was like, yeah, whatever. In the Bronx and stuff like that. My youngest is like, that's fake. That's the hood. There's no burned down buildings, Dad. You're crazy. I'm like, all right, New Rochellian. I'm like, you went to Fordham Prep. Two of my sons went to Fordham Prep. Like I was like, I went to Lehman High School.
Yeah.
I went to private school in college. I was like, you guys, like, we shelter them because we want them to have a better life.
Yeah.
But I tell them all the time, you grew up in the zoo. You can see the animals behind the bars. I grew up in the jungle.
Yeah.
If I got too close, I got bit.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah.
very different way of living. And I don't know what the answer is. Hit me in 10 years. Maybe but I try to present ideas to them. And sometimes I feel like a genius. Other times I feel retarded. Being a father is a really tough thing. Because you have your wife's opinion, you have your opinion, and you're trying to convey a message to them, and everybody's different. Each personality is different, so you can say the same thing, but you have to say it 3 different ways for them to get it.
Yeah,
it's no joke, man. It's no joke.
I'm excited. I don't want to say nervous because nervous and excitement are very similar, right? In both like physiological response and kind of like how you feel. But Chase is a year and 5 months old, right? He's he's screaming because we took the ball away or we took a cracker away, and my wife tells him to stop and he won't stop, and he just doesn't. He can't communicate that way. He doesn't understand, and it's frustrating. I have 1 kid, bro. You got 3.
I had 3.
God bless you, bro.
I had 3.
God bless you, and we're gonna get more. So I might be.
We're gonna go buy some.
Yeah, we're gonna go buy some exactly. So I might be hitting you up for some pieces of advice later in the future for how to raise.
It's funny. I have friends of mine who hit me up. One of my boys, Brian, hit me up on Saturday. He goes, "Yo, I'm just touching base, bro." I was like, "Word, what you doing?" Because I know exactly what he's doing. Because his kids are young. He's 4 soccer games in one day. I'm all over the island. I'm like, "Yeah, I did that." Because when I started working for him, he was younger than me, and my kids were like 8, 9. So I was coaching. I did all that. I was like, "Yeah," and he'd be like, "Why are you leaving work today?" I'm like, "I gotta coach." He was like, "Yeah," and I was like, I was always a top producer, so nobody ever said, "Oh, you're not working," because I would get there at 9, leave, and by 9 to 6, I got more done than most people in a week. So I was like, "Yeah, I got to do it." Why? Because the reason I became a baseball coach, was not because I love baseball. It was because I saw the guys who were coaching, and I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Nah, this kid is not gonna. My son is not gonna listen to this guy. No, hell no." That if we were being very honest, going back to quality, I'm like, "Nah, like, I am just as bad as everybody else sitting on the sideline if I don't do something." And that's always who I've been. I'm like, "I'll coach." Like, "You play ball?" Never. But I learned. I had baseball for dummies. That's how I learned. And
you had baseball for dummies?
Yeah, that's how I learned.
Love that.
I learned.
You're committed?
I learned. I was like, "Yo, I got to learn how to
Yeah.
fucking game." I'm a basketball guy. I love basketball. But baseball is what he wanted to play, so I had to learn it. And I did that shit for like 8, 9 years. Travel teams. This, that, why?
Oh
Because
my gosh,
you want them, they're all in the Bronx, and you want them to go to Cooperstown. So you're doing all that shit.
Your kids go to Cooperstown?
No, well, they did. Remember, my kids are adults now. I'm giving you, this is a flashback. But, like, he's doing that now. I was like, "Yeah, that was nice 10 years ago, bro." He's like, "I know, fuck." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm done. 2 more years. My last one graduates college. Hopefully he figures out what he wants to do." And I told wifey, like, I'm gonna buy a few more buildings. I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But we out. I told her, "Well, let's go to I told her the other day, I was like, "Let's go to Italy next year." Like, I'm telling her the next day. She's like, "No, not yet." I was like, "All right, in 2 years let's be out. Let's be out for like I don't have a plan to retire, so it'll be in movement and just make time. Hey, let's take 2 weeks to go here.
Yeah.
Brioni, let's go Rome. Let's do shit. Like, and I feel like I'm still young enough to kind of enjoy it. Going back to the old American dream, or the dream that was sold. Wait till you're 65, bro. I had my hips replaced. Before I had my hips replaced, I felt like I was 89, so I could barely walk. I didn't want to do shit. I was in pain all the time.
Right.
So I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good now. I'm functioning. I wanna have quality of life, not just at the end. Like, fuck that. At the end, bury me when it's all done, but let me ride all the way to the end."
Luis, it also comes from an abundance mindset, right?
Yeah.
So like, we raise capital a lot for our real estate firm, and initially it was very hard to do so. Because we had a limited mindset, right? But money's in abundance. So is pleasure. So is being able to travel with your family. So is the fun that you can have in life, right? It's the abundance mindset. And like, we're going to go here. I'm going to take 2 weeks off. I'm not worried about when I come back because I know I have an abundance mindset. And there's going to be a lot of fulfillment and things to come my way because I'm going to output that in other people's way. Right? So I think having an abundance mindset is definitely a crucial mindset to have. Even if you're a W-2 employee or if you're an entrepreneur,
whatever you're doing,
have that abundance.
Having an abundance mindset. I want to just piggyback off that, but have the mindset that you have to execute. there's work behind it. Me going away for a week means I have to put shit in order.
Yeah.
Right? Just to hold us down for the week. Like payroll, like, all the other shit that being an owner is. But the work doesn't go away. People think, you can't be irresponsible, bro. Like, you got to be like, all right, I'm doing this. So because I want to hang out, I got to do a little more. Because I want, with that week off, I really want to be off. It means not them calling me, hey, man, you missed it. No, I want to. So, like, and I welcome all that because all the time, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, man, it's a lot of shit going on. But then I think about when I have shit. Or when I was like, yo, I wish I could have one thing. And now I have so many things. And I'm like, yo, man, this is what you wanted. Yeah. you can't complain.
You signed up for it.
Yeah, you can't complain, man. Like,
remember
when you didn't have shit and you're like, yo, how am I going to, my negative accounts, or I didn't have credit, or student loans, you don't have none of that shit now. You knocked them all out methodically.
Bro, it's choose your suffering, right? I think Jordan Peterson says it. Choose your suffering, right? You can have pain or suffering. You might be anxious about your bills. You might be anxious about what comes next, or not knowing what to do. Or you could be anxious about, damn, I got a lot of debt, but if I execute on this, I'm gonna make a lot of money, right? You're not gonna be worried about paying people's bills or paying your family's bills, or God forbid something happens to your family. Like, you're set. But like, you choose your suffering, and like, I choose this suffering because it's gonna help me and advance my future, help other people's future, help my family's future, and help my friends' future.
You have to understand what you chose. Like, I want to be this. Well, this is what comes with it. You gotta pay the price. You gotta pay the price. Willing to pay the price, right? Like, you want to lead. You gotta pay the price. There's a price. I'm not saying it's not bad, but there's responsibility that comes with it, right? And there's that. I think I told you that weight on your chest that you're like, sometimes it's heavier than other times. Other times it feels really light. It's almost like weight going at the gym. 135 feels really good sometimes. Like, it's nothing. It's a warm up. Other times you're like, yo, my chest hurts. But I think we've run very, very, very long. It might be a part 2 to this one. All right. Really quick, look at the camera. Tell people where they can contact you if you're syndicating, if they need help in real estate in Connecticut, or if they want to get down, for whatever you want.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram, realestate_Ramos. Facebook, my name is Matt Ramos. If you're looking to diversify your portfolio, if you're looking to get into the real estate game, fix and flip, multifamily syndication, whatever it may be, it's a great alternative investment vehicle. If you want to learn more, feel free to DM me, jump on a call, discuss it more, and help you bridge the gap from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow. Appreciate you.
That's all we got. I'm a bankster. If you need money, just hit me. You know what I do. And Matt, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.